Hey, you guys, this episode is going to be a little more about why we do what we do. Most of the podcasts, we're talking about specific issues that we've noticed are facing you guys today and giving some mom input to you. But today we're talking a little bit more with each other, kind of about you guys, like letting you in on our conversation about why we do what we do. And we're going to be talking about that. And I think you'll see how much we love you guys as we talk back and forth with each other today. So thanks for joining us. Hey, you guys, thanks for joining us again for this episode of the Rave Mom Podcast. And just like I promised, we have the mom with us that was on that video that went viral where she was loving on that precious girl. And so many people saw that video. It went way viral. And I have gotten well over 1,000 calls, that maybe 2,000 by now, texts and calls to our Call a Rave Mom line that you can find on plurway.com. And that video that we posted on Instagram and TikTok of you hugging that precious girl was so touching to so many people that they started calling that line like crazy. And I'm the one that answers it most of the time. And so I got to talk to so many kids. And you guys, you have to know, I'm 61. How old are you?
62.
Okay, I'll be 62 in May. So we're really close to the same age. But that's why we call you guys kids, because my oldest is well into her 30s and my youngest is 26. So I've got three. But yeah, your oldest is...
I only have one, and he is going to soon be 35.
Okay. So that's why we call you guys kids, because we're moms and Grammys. Both of us are Grammys.
I am a Grammy.
Yeah.
Times two. Two boys.
That's so fun.
I love it.
And I have 3 girls and 2 boys. So I know.
I want a girl.
Oh,
I'll take anybody's girl. No, I'm just kidding.
That's awesome. I know. So anyway, that's why we call you guys kids. You'll always be kids to us. And so I have to say that some of the texts and calls that came in were heartbreaking, because there's so many people out there that just want a mom. And I pray before each one that I answer, because I want to be loving and kind. And I know I can never be your mom, but I can stand in and be a mom to the people that call and text. And it's just a great privilege to be able to do that. But something that I wanted to ask you about, Doris, is... Oh, and this is Doris, by the way.
Hello.
I forgot to say I'm Colleen. Okay. And but so you may recognize my name if you're watching this, because you talked to me. I'm the Colleen you talked to. But this is the Doris that was on that.
This is the Doris that will hug you.
That's right. That was on that video. So I wanted to just ask you about something, Doris. So when I watched the video, I noticed that one of the things you offered, you said you can call the Rave Mom line on plurway.com, and you can call if something's going on in your life, or, you need a mom talk about something. But you also said if you just need to celebrate something that's going on in your life.
Absolutely. And I think we forget. We forget that we just don't need a mom for the lows of our life, but we need a mom for the highs of our life too, right?
Yeah. I never thought about that before. Yeah. Go ahead.
That was the Lord for me, because I don't really plan on anything I say to the kids,
So, Doris, I never really thought about the whole celebration. You offered mom talks, you offered, conversation with a mom if something's going on in your life that you need to talk about. And then you also included celebration, like if you just need to celebrate with someone. And I had never thought about that. And I was just like, wow, that's super cool. It's just I think it comes so natural for us to celebrate with our kids. Right?
Absolutely. And I think we love to celebrate with our kids. And, I have a son that he comes and shares everything with me, right? I'm very fortunate in that. So I think, the Lord just speaks to you. You're out there hugging the kids and you want to meet them exactly where they're at and their needs, right? And someone once said that, success is not success if you don't have anybody to share it with. So if you're way up there all by yourself, who cares?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I know that we have a lot of young people that have successes.
Yeah.
And if they don't have their mom to share it with, we love to share it with you. We love to hear the great things. I mean, we do hear and we love the needs because we want to be there for your need, but we want to be there for the good things too,
Yeah.
There are a lot of good things happening. We hear ugly things every day. But when your kid comes home and say, "Oh, I got an A on my paper," we're like, woohoo, right?
Yeah. And we want to hear that for all kids, not just our own kids, right?
Yeah.
We come from a generation where it was kind of like popular or trendy to kind of not like teenagers and not like young adults. And I just think that's so rude, and I want to see this generation succeed. And when you're a mom, when you're, I think, a good mom, you want your kids to do better than you did.
Absolutely.
Right?
Of course.
And that's where sometimes the whole parenting thing gets down a road you really shouldn't go down, where you're putting too much pressure on your kids because you're kind of living through your kids and their successes are your successes and their failures are your failures. So you put too much pressure on your kids. But when you're a good mom, you don't do that. You don't live your life through theirs, but you just love them through the hurts and the failures, and you cheer them on during the successes.
That's so
and,
true.
For some of these kids that have contacted me, it's a success that they just got out of bed in the morning. The stories that I've heard are devastating. And, I used to be a judgmental church lady. I call myself a recovering judgmental church lady. And one of the things God used to break me of that is I started listening to people's stories. And it's super hard to judge when you hear someone's story.
True.
And these stories that I've heard with these kids that don't have parents in their lives that love them and care for them. I've heard stories of moms taking off with a boyfriend, like, see you later. And then some of them have chosen drugs and alcohol over their kids. They have a relationship with drugs and alcohol big time. And that just devastates a family. Yes. And the pain that's there. It's something to celebrate that these kids are surviving this and that they're, moving forward in their life and they're going to go out and do things differently.
They're not going to follow that chain, right?
Right.
That's that same bondage, maybe.
One of my favorite sayings is it ran in my family till it ran into me.
Ah.
And it's possible to break that.
Yes.
And succeed.
I believe that too.
Yeah. And then for other kids that have called, they just wanted to tell me or tell a mom that they got a new job or that they graduated, or like you said, they got an A on their paper.
Or they just want to know things like, what do I do when I go for an interview?
Yeah.
What do I wear?
Right. Right.
What do I say? What do I, Mm-hmm. I have in my own life, my son's one of his best friends growing up, his mom was sick, and during COVID, she died. Mm-hmm. And now he is an orphan, technically, right? But he has us.
Yeah.
But he raves. He could have just been a raver out there that didn't have us, right?
Right.
And I always picture that there are people all over, and they come from all over to the raves. And they might not have a mom. I want to be that hug, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want them to feel reassured that they're loved, because we forget how important that is in life.
Yeah. And when we're out there on the street, we're always saying, be safe tonight. And if there's girls together, we always say, stay together and come up with a meeting place if you get lost, right? Yes.
Make smart choices.
Yeah. If there's a guy walking in with a girl or two, I always tell him, okay, you watch those girls. You watch
Don't
them.
let her out of your sight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We kind of go mom on the kids, but I've noticed that no one's offended by that. They want that, as long as we're not out there going, you shouldn't be here. And why are you dressed like that? As long as we're not being the judgmental church lady that I used to be.
Right. Right.
They want to be shown love in that way,
And I think the whole PLUR, the peace, love, unity, respect, right? I can remember sitting with one gentleman and him saying to me, well, we go home today and now I got to go back to my ugly life. That when they're at the rave, they feel love, they feel like they belong, they feel like they're in a place they should be.
Right.
But that should be every day for them.
Yeah, that's what I ask a lot of these kids that call because, the bottom line is I'm not their mom. I love to stand in and be a mom when I can, but I always want to know, like, do you guys have a support system in your life?
Yeah.
And I make suggestions. Like, is there an auntie that you can get in touch with? Do you have a grandma? Your grandma would love to hear from you, or is there someone that you have in your daily life that you could reach out to? There's safe churches that you can go to, that will love on you, especially if you let people know. Yeah. Yeah. And I always tell them, like if you start volunteering with a group, you'll get some other friendships outside of work and school,
Yeah.
And that sometimes helps to have those support systems. When you're down, you kind of need someone that notices that you're down. So
that's very true.
And on the Rave Mom line, I am happy to have ongoing conversations. There's some kids that started texting me right around December 11th, 2025. So just this last December when the video went viral, and they're still texting me, to this day, every few days, they check in. And I think that's so healthy and good,
Right.
And it makes me happy because then I know that they're doing okay.
Yeah. I know sometimes share some of the stuff with us moms and I'm always like, well, where are they at? What city are they in? Do they live close to me? I'll go.
Yeah.
And you're like, they're in Ohio.
Yeah.
Or they're in Berlin. I'm like, oh, I can't go to Berlin.
Yeah. I wish you could. I wish we could.
Right? There is a rave out there, right?
Yeah.
We should go.
Yeah. But anyway, it's been a privilege for us to be out there on the street, I think, and hugging kids and telling them that they're precious and valuable and created with purpose. Yes. And we believe that in our hearts, and that's why we go and we do that. And anytime we can step in and be a mom, it's an honor for us. It's a blessing for us.
It's a privilege. Mm-hmm. We don't want to be their mom, but sometimes we need a mom.
Yeah.
I mean, for a myriad of things and whatever it is, if you don't ask, right?
Right.
Or if you don't ask, you can't heal either.
Yeah.
We need to talk about our feelings, good or bad. Mm-hmm. We go through things and we do want to celebrate things,
Yeah.
And if we have to make hard decisions, we want someone to hold our hand sometimes, right? Yeah. Even if they're bad decisions or good decisions, or whether we would agree with them or not, because I don't agree with all my son's decisions, but if I don't give him my opinion,
right,
he can't make maybe a better choice, or at least see that there's other options in his choices.
Right. Yeah, and I think we've lived enough life in our 62 years.
Made a lot of mistakes.
Right.
So we know how to.
Right. And we can go, ooh, if I can share something with someone that will help them not repeat the same thing that I did, or kind of get in that cycle that I did, then I would love to share that. But I've learned that advice that's not asked for is never welcome. So I don't want to just go out there and give a ton of advice either. So it's just it's a balance. But if people know that we're here and that we're willing to talk to them, on this podcast, if we say something people don't like, they can just shut us off and then check in another time. Maybe they'll like the next one if they don't like this one. Right. But they have the ability to do that. But, with the phone calls that I've taken and the texts, I always ask permission. Is it okay if I share something with you that, I learned, and every time they say yes,
Well, and I think it's a big step to call.
Yeah,
it's brave for you to call us.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Oh, yeah. And I've had kids that think that I'm AI, and they'll just say, is this AI?
Oh, how funny.
And one kid, I forget exactly how it went, but it was like, hey, is this the Rave Mom line? I'm not sure how this works. And I said, yes, I'm so sorry that it took me so long to get back to you. I was at a hockey game with my husband. And then when I got home late after the game, I had responded to the text, and he shoots back like, is this AI? And I said, AI didn't go with my husband to the hockey game, and I think it kind of was like, oh yeah. But
I never thought that we could be AI. I guess you could program stuff like that, right?
I guess, but I don't know how all that works, but I do know that you and I are real live human beings.
Yes.
And that we really care. And that's why we go. And that's why we're doing this podcast. And so I think if you guys go to plurway.com and you want to just text the Rave Mom line, if you want to put in a subject in there that you'd like us to talk about on a future show, that would be cool, because we'll just keep having these mom talks with different moms. And hopefully it helps someone out there that doesn't have a mom. A lot of kids have shared that their moms have passed. And I didn't know it's a lot of cancer, and that's super hard. And I didn't realize how many young adults in their early 20s are losing their parents.
Yeah, I would have not thought about that. Mm-hmm. At our age, we're losing parents.
Yeah.
And friends,
Yeah, but there's
not at 20.
At least from my little piece of the pie, from all the calls that I've gotten, there's a high percentage, it seems like, of 20-somethings that are losing parents. Some of it's to addiction. Actually, quite a lot of it was to addiction. But then there's quite a lot that's been cancer too. And so I had one girl call. She's 27, and she just wanted to know how to bake a ham. And inside I thought, she can get online and Google it. But that's not what she wanted. Her mom had passed, and she wanted to talk to a mom and ask a mom how. She didn't want to talk to Google about how to bake a ham.
Right.
And so I thought, okay, on one of these Rave Mom podcasts, we'll talk about kitchen tips sometime, and the things fun. We've learned. I was telling her how to line a pan with foil so that you don't have to wash the pan when you're done. How it gets all nasty.
Right.
And so I thought, I'll just bring some of our Rave Moms on here, and we'll talk about kitchen tips, all the things. We'll probably learn some stuff from each other while we're doing the podcast.
So true.
But
somebody had told me a story about a person made a ham, and they asked, why do we do this? Why do we cut the end of the canned ham? You know how you peel it around? It's one shape one. They cut the ends off. And so she goes, I don't know. I'll call grandma, who called great grandma. And, they moved on. And then the last grandma said, well, it wouldn't fit in my pan, so I had to cut the ends off. So it had nothing to do with the ham. It was just the pan from back in the, years and years ago.
All the future generations.
It's to cut off the ends.
Okay, well,
because that's what Mom did.
I don't cut off the ends of my ham, and so I guess it ran in my family till it ran into me would apply there, right?
Which I thought was funny. So, I think that it is fun to have things that are passed down, right?
Yeah. And when a life is cut short like that, a lot of things that could have been passed down aren't. And so that's one reason we're doing the Rave Mom Podcast, is because we want to stand in for people that kind of need a mom and need to hear from moms. And we're seeing that the need is great. And I just want to thank you for being out there on the street, hugging that girl, and for saying what you said. You know, if you just want to call and celebrate, because so many, like I said, have called to celebrate things. And I truly have been blessed and honored to celebrate with them. So let us know, you guys, if you have something to celebrate, just text the Rave Mom line. You can find it on plurway.com, and we would love to celebrate with you.
And at the next rave, come and give me a hug.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hug you.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching today. If you have questions or you'd like to talk to a mom, go to plurway.com and click on text or call a Rave Mom. We'd love to hear from you.